Hi guys, we have already explained the for loops and the basic functionalities of for loops and their use in practice. In this lesson we will explain the while loop. First, let's create the new Python file and name it while loop. While loop. Add a couple of lines and let's start to explain what's the while loop. Compared with the for loop, before creating the while loop we first initialize the variable, then we are just giving condition and then incrementing it. Let's do it in practice. First we will assign the variable a equals to 0, then we will type in the keyword while, and inside the condition we will put the condition here, like a less than 20. This is just an example. Then we are just incrementing or decrementing it, a equals a plus 2, and then we will just print it out like a and click enter. You could say that it will increment each element by 2 up to the 20 here. This is the variable that we have assigned, and this variable is going to iterate through each element up to the 20 and print it out in your result here. Also we could even with the semicolon print them in one line. It will work again without problems. Yes, it has worked. Let's create another variable or another functionality of while loop. While first create the variable a equals to 0 again, then the keyword while a is less than 20 or 30, does not matter. You will print out what a and increment it by 2. You could just increment it like that. This basically means a equals to a plus 2. We have already explained all of this in the previous lesson, and click enter. You could see that this will print out all these elements up to the 28, while this one would include this 20 here. If you have an iteration before print, it will print out all these elements, but if you have it after that, it will not print out the last iterated element here. Just keep it this in mind, but always try to use it like before. Print it out. I use it like that, and I suggest you to use it like that. Even after that, you could even print out your code here, hello, click enter. You could see that your code is continuously will print it out after this iteration here. But if you just click the tab here and include this printed character or string inside of your while loop, it will continuously print out these hello elements or characters here. Just be sure that your just string is not inside of your while loop when it's not needed here. Let's create another loop. Let's see that I have a b equals to 0, and I will create the function while b is less than 10. Pay attention that here I have entailed or surrounded this condition with round brackets, while here I haven't included it because it does not matter. Python will not count them as a error, and here I will just print out what b multiplied 4, and I will can include even the strings items and include what the iteration here plus equals 1. You already know that this syntax here. This is the basic iteration. You could see that it has included this string to each element here, to each iterated element. It will start to iterate these numbers and multiply all these elements to 4 here. We could even decrement it. See that I have an 8, 20 or 25, and I want to decrement it. If I try to decrement it, I always just put this a greater or equal than 0, because I am going to decrement it. It's going to from here down here, and print it out, print it like a, and decrement it by 2. Let's decrement it by 2, and you could see that it will decrement these elements by 2 up to the 1, from 25 to 0, because we have assigned it that it should be less or greater than or equal than 0 here. After 0, it will just break its loop here, its iteration. We could even iterate over an array with the help of while loop. Let's first create an array. Like we have dates here. In an array we have dates 2000, 2005, 2010, 2020. I will run it first, and then I will try to assign the 0 to the variable. This is the initializing point in the iteration. And then I will do what? I will create the while loop and say that it should be, I should be less than the length of these dates here, of this list here. We have already covered this topic, and you know the basic syntax of length function. If we have a long array, we don't want to use or count each element with the range. We are just using the length and then a range function. This is very important to know. Then I will do what? I will print out the dates and I iteration here, and I will increment it by 1. Always just remember this one. This is iteration. Without this, it will continuously print out each lots of numbers here, and it will just cause to stop your server here. If I click run, it will print out all this element inside of your list. You could see I can even assign it like this one. It should work, the position index numbers here, or instead of the length I can give it to the variable like L equals to this length dates, and assign here this variable if I want, for simplicity. Click enter. It should work. Okay, let's see that I would like to iterate through the list date and stop it at the year 2010. This could be a bit complex, but it's not. It's very easy to understand this logic too. First, we already know that this is the list. Let's print it again. Dates. You'll see that it holds all these elements, and I want to stop this iteration in here at 2010. How should I do this? Again, I will first assign the variable to the 0 position, and then I will create another variable to the first position here, 0 position here, with this list dates like 0. If I print this dates 0, it will print 2000. I want this first position in order to iterate it and stop it here. I will explain why. I will just assign these dates 0 to the year variable, and now I have all these elements for working, all these tools for working with while loop. I will create the while loop first, and then I will assign this year here, the first position, and it should not be equal to 2010. You could see that this is our condition. This one, the first position, it's not usually the first position. It's going to be iterated with this I here, from this position here. That's why I have assigned it this year to not equal to 2010. If it's not equal to 2010, print me that year, but we would not forget the iteration. First, I equals to I plus 1. And then we have one more thing to do. This year should be assigned to this iteration, like this one, but we should include this list here, not only iteration itself. We will do what? We will just include this list with this iteration here. If I click Alt Enter, you could see that it will print out two elements here up to the 2010 here. Let's create one more loop and break it here. Let's see that I have a k equals to 10, and I will create a loop while k is greater than 0. I will decrement it, k minus equal 1. This basically means k equals to k minus 1. It just decrements it, and give a condition here. If my k is less than 3, I will do what? I will break it. And then I can just print out this k, and let's see what it will print. It will print all these elements up to the 3. But if it's less than 3, it will just break it out here. You could see how it would work. Let's just try to use one more while. Let's see that I want to print out specific name and give a condition while here. I know that we haven't covered the input, but the input is very useful and easy function. If I just assign input and create this one, it will just create the input field here. This is easy to know. I will explain it in the next lectures, but first let's try to explain this one in practice. First, I will create the while condition with true. I say that while or condition is true, I will create first name variable and assign this name variable to the input. And we are just creating this input here and assign to the variable. And here I give a condition. If this name, the variable, or the value of this input is equals to, for example, my name, Rohit, it should do what? This should print out what? Hi, for example, and the variable itself, I mean the typed keyword here, what we will type it inside of this input field, will print it out here. And else I will give a condition, else I can just break it here. And after all these statements, I will do what? I will print out the name itself, because name is going to be our input field here. Make sure that all these positions and tabs are equal with each other, and if I run it, it should print out the result first. It hasn't printed, it's just loading it. Let's interrupt it and run it again. You could see that it will print out the field. Let's first type in my name, Rohit, and we have a condition like this one. If I click enter, you could see that it will print out hi Rohit here. But if I print something else and click enter, it will break our input field here. You could see that no more input fields here. Okay, I think that that's enough for explaining with while loops. While loop is also very useful to know, and it's one of the most common features and functions used in data analysis. It might be very useful to know. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to my channel. Have a good day. Bye.